Students, today we will study the chapter The Life of Tribals and the Decos. The British took over large area under cultivation. They took over the political power and adopted the expansion policy in the process, which disturbed the tribals and resulted in widespread revolts. The lands of the tribals were used for cultivating cash crops such as indigo, jute, and poppy. So, who were the tribals? A tribe. A tribe is a group of people who belong to the same race, have the same language, customs, traditions, and beliefs. The tribals, or in Hindi we can say that the Adivasis, are the group of people united by common name and language. Mostly they live isolated from the society and shared common territory and culture. So India is the homeland for a lot of tribes such as Khans, Khasis, Santhals. The tribals lived in the forest and hills, and the landless tribals were forced to become laborers at a very low wage. The tribals were exploited by the moneylenders who forced them to work as coolies in the mines and factories. The tribals have enjoyed freedom to such an extent that any move to restrict their freedom and rights was objected by them. East India Company took away the forest lands and introduced them to traders. The traders who were dependent on the forest had to witness the destruction of their livelihood and identity. June cultivators, slash and burn method. Many tribal societies such as Gonds practiced June cultivation, or we can say that shifting agriculture. So under this system, tribes cleared small patches of land in the forest in order to grow food crops to meet their subsistence needs. The land would be cleared by burning the vegetation. The ash from the fire was spread all over the land as it was considered good for the soil. A simple stick or hoe was used to make holes in the soil into which the tribe would drop seeds. After the crop was harvested, the land was left fallow. Fallow means no crops were grown on it again. In order to allow it to regain its fertility, this also means that the tribe moved to a different area within the forest to clear a patch of land and repeat the whole process again and again. Jhum cultivators were mainly found in central and northeastern India, and they depended on their ability to move freely within the forest. They lived in there for survival. Next is the hunters and gatherers. In many regions of India like Odisha, now Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, and Jharkhand, tribal groups lived by hunting animals and gathering forest produce. So they were mainly dependent on forest produce for their existence. First is the Khons. Khons are also known as the Khans, were one of the tribes of India. They inhabited the states of Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. They were hunters and gatherers and went out for collective hunts. They shared fruits and roots they collected. They usually cooked food with oil extracted from sal and mahua seeds. They also used medicinal plants for curing diseases. The next is the Bagas. Bagas tribes are found in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh areas of India. They were mostly found in Mangla district of Madhya Pradesh. They practiced slash and burn cultivation. They also collected leaves, honey, roots from the forest and hunted small wild animals. Next is the animal herders and breeders. Numerous tribal groups such as the Koas. Koas lived as herders and breeders of animals. Breeders means a person who breeds animals. These tribes led a shifting life as they moved from one place to another with their animals. The movement of these tribes was dependent on the seasons and the availability of fodder for their livestock. Fodder fodder means food for horses and farm animals. Next is settled cultivators. Tribes such as Mundas and Orions were settled cultivators who had given up on shifting cultivation. These tribes had settled down in one area and cultivated the same area of land year after year. The land was generally owned by the entire tribe as a whole. Effect of colonial rule on tribal lives. Tribal chiefs lost their significance. Tribal chiefs lost their significance as the British created their own system of maintaining law and order in the land. Tribals were forced into paying taxes to the state. While the introduction of new land revenue settlement, the tribals were forced into the paying heavy taxes to the state for the use of land which had traditionally belonged to them. High revenue demand of the British led tribal groups borrow money from moneylenders. They, when high revenue demand of the British made many tribal groups borrow money from moneylenders at very high rate of interest, which further worsened their condition. Some forests were declared as reserved forest, where only contractors authorized by the state were allowed to cut the timber. Tribal groups could no longer cut wood or gather forest products easily in such forests. They were also not allowed to cultivate any land within the forest. Expansion of the road and railway network. The expansion of the road and railway network under the British led to a great demand for timber, which resulted in the cutting down of many forests. This led to a further loss of livelihood for tribal groups, used as a cheap labor. The opening of mines and factories in areas where tribal groups lived led to the members of these groups being used as cheap labor. They were mistreated, they were abused, made to work in very poor conditions, and not they were also not paid enough. Next is Santhal rebellion. Santhal first settled in Bengal in 1780s. Forced to pay revenue, they were forced to pay revenue to the British. The Christians interfered in the life of the tribals. The Santhals opposed the activities of the Christian missionaries, which finally led to the Santhal rebellion in 1855. Kahu, Barrow, Sidhu, and other Santhal leaders got support from potters, weavers, blacksmiths. The Santhals attacked the police station, railway lines, post office, etc. British encouraged them to settle in Jungle Mahal Hills at the foothills of Raj Mahal Hills. So by 1832, a large area was given to them for settlement. As Santhal population settled there, the land was cleared and cultivation expanded. This increased the revenue in the company's officer. Santals found out that the land had cleared and cultivation cultivated was slipping out of their hands. So government started charging heavy taxes and moneylenders were known as the Dikus, were charging them very high interest on the loans, taking away their land if they were not able to pay the loan. Zamindars were also taking control over the areas. These zamindars exploited the women and disgraced their culture. So Santhals were ready for the revolt. Santhals took revolt place in 1856 to 55 to 56. Santhas rebels were joined by poor and landless peasants of other lower caste and village artisans. The rebellion was crushed by British troops. About 10,000 rebels perished in the unequal fight between peasants with bows and arrows on the one side and soldiers equipped with firearms on the other. This means that peasants were having only bows and arrows and the British soldiers were having the firearms and the heavy weapons. The last topic is Birsa Munda. Birsa Munda was a son of a sharecropper. Sharecropper means a farmer who grows crops on someone else's land and receive part of the money earned from selling the crops. So, who had received some education from the Christian missionaries in the region. Proclaimed himself as prophet. Birsa Munda proclaimed himself as a prophet. Prophet means, according to some religion, a person sent by God to lead people and teach them the religious beliefs. So, Birsa Munda proclaimed himself as a prophet with miraculous powers and called upon the Mundas to fight against the superstitions, give up animal sacrifice, stop taking intoxicants. Intoxicants means such as alcohol that produces a false feelings of pleasure and lack of control. So stop taking intoxicants and retain their old tribal traditions. British put him in jail. Till 1895, Birsa was a religious reformer uh, and as an agitator for the forest and other rights of the Mundas. He urged people to recover their glorious past. He aimed at getting political freedom for the Mundas areas. So, British put him in jail for 2 years when he started recruiting volunteers to fight the British rule in 1895. When Birsa Munda returned from the jail, he was even more determined to remove the decoys like missionaries, moneylenders, landlords, and British colonial government from the Mundas area. He and his followers started targeting symbols of European powers and missionaries in their areas and attacked places that they associated with the depots, such as police stations, post offices, and other official symbols. Birsa was able to raise the white flag as a symbol of Birsa Raj, but he was captured and put in jail where he died in 1900 CE. After Birsa's death, Munda rebellion lost much of its strength and power. Government did attempt to improve the situation of Mundas by bringing about laws which protected their traditional rights over land and by banning the practice of Bait Begari. Bait Begari means forced labor.